How I fixed my sleep maintenance insomnia is just pushing my bedtime later. There are two different types of insomnia. Sleep onset insomnia, which is you go into bed but you just can't sleep at all. And then there's sleep maintenance insomnia, where you go to bed and you go like blackout pretty quickly, and then you just wake up in the middle of the night and you can't fall back asleep. Sleep onset and sleep maintenance insomnia are different. I had sleep maintenance insomnia. So if you have the same issue, I can help you. I learned from this sleep expert from this podcast named Dr. Stephanie Rami something. And she's an expert at NASA, and she said every time our sleep cycle finishes, we actually wake up for a brief amount of time, but then we just go back to sleep. We don't remember this because we're still in a sleep-like state. I asked ChatGPT about my sleep insomnia. ChatGPT is so useful, very good. And I asked him, how do I fix my sleep maintenance insomnia? And he said, when the sleep cycle finished, you woke up and for some reason something wrong did not go. And so you woke up and you didn't go back to sleep as you normally did. And the reason why is because I wasn't aligned to my natural chronotype. Chronotype is the time that you're naturally going to fall asleep and the time that your body naturally wakes up. And your chronotype is genetic. For example, you can be one of those morning larks where they go to sleep at very early, like 7 to 8 o'clock, and then they wake up 4 or 5 a.m. So they're basically like the early bird CEOs that everyone like cringes at for some reason. I took a morningness, eveningness questionnaire, which I'll link in the description, and it told me that my chronotype is intermediate. So an intermediate chronotype just simply means I feel sleepy at 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. and I wake up 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. So around that time I should be sleeping and waking. And my whole mistake was I slept at 9 a.m. every night. As much as possible, I tried to sleep early so that I could actually wake up early. Because I wanted to wake up early before school so that I can actually smash out work like this. But that is so out of line with my natural genetic chronotype. So what happened is like my sleep wasn't normal. I couldn't go back to sleep after I woke up naturally. So I fixed that by just going to sleep at 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 every single night. And then I just pushed back my wake up time in order to actually have enough sleep from my later bedtime. So instead of 6 a.m., I woke up at 7 a.m. And miraculously, this is so good. For some reason, my school, used to start at around 8 o'clock, and now they pushed it to 9 o'clock, around that time. So now I got like an extra hour of sleep. I could be allowed to sleep 1 extra hour. And that is so good. In fact, I'm not too sure about this, but I think when you are sleep deprived, even by just 1 hour, you're 30% more likely to think of suicide, to plan of suicide, and to also just execute suicide. So, take care of sleep deprivation, because that can really affect your mental health. And yeah, that's the whole main thing that I did in order to improve my sleep maintenance insomnia, is to just sleep later and make sure that my sleep schedule is in line with my body's natural chronotype, which is 10:11 p.m. to 6:7 a.m. Another thing that I did to really help me to stop waking up in the middle of the night is to view morning sunlight. So as soon as I wake up, within the first 30 minutes of waking up, I go outside, I go to the front of my house, and I set a timer for 15 minutes, and I just sit there and I look around. And what that does is, if you're outside and there's some sunlight outside by the time you're out, so let's say sunrise, there will be sunlight going into your eyes, and it hits like a group of neurons in your eyes, which then signals to a part of your brain that 12 to 14 hours later we should produce melatonin. So if you view morning sunlight, it just anchors your circadian rhythm and allows you to feel sleepy and continue to feel sleepy. So for example, I view morning sunlight at 7 a.m. As soon as I woke up, just within 3 minutes I'm outside already. 7 a.m. I view morning sunlight, which means that my body will set a timer to release melatonin at around 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and even up to 11 p.m. Because viewing morning sunlight will time your every hormone in your body, especially melatonin, which will release 12, 14, 16 hours later. So that's another thing that really helped me. And another thing, I'll just look at my notes real quick. Another thing that really helped me was to allow sleepiness to build up. A lot of the times when I felt sleepy in the afternoon because I didn't sleep enough the night before because of my sleep maintenance insomnia, I just did my best to take a 20-minute nap. And when I did take it, I wouldn't really be able to fall asleep at night. When you feel sleepy, so how sleepiness is created is there's a hormone in your body that's created, which is adenosine, which comes from adenosine triphosphate. We all know that. And when this adenosine builds up, if I take a nap, then the adenosine goes down. So by the time I want to actually go to sleep at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., there's not enough adenosine for me to go back to sleep. There's not enough adenosine for me to stay asleep. You need to really let it build up. Anytime you feel so sleepy in the afternoon or in the morning, don't take caffeine, don't take a nap, just let yourself suffer through it. Just tolerate the pain and the sleepiness until you get to the bedtime. And by the time you go to bed, that will be the best sleep you will ever have. It's so good. In order to actually combat sleepiness, what I did is to do some activity that stimulated my brain enough so that it could actually stay awake. I'll give you one of the activities I did, I'll show you. One of the things that I did in order to stay awake was to read a book by this author, Alan Gratz, which is Prisoner B3 something something. Yeah, basically, whenever... Bro. Alright, not bad. Whenever I felt sleepy, I just would read fiction, specifically fiction, in order to keep my mind occupied. Enough so that it produces like the dopamine, acetylcholine, noradrenaline to stay awake, all that science stuff. So do something that stimulates your brain enough so that it can actually stay awake. And as much as possible, let it be productive. I used to try to read some self-improvement book like Stolen Focus, Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. But then I didn't really I would usually fall asleep at those books because I would struggle to really focus on them. So I read a fiction book instead, which I usually don't do. I don't really like reading fiction. I actually quite liked it. It was enjoyable enough for me to want to keep going. I could understand it enough so that I could focus better. So make sure you have a task that is mentally taxing on your brain, but enjoyable enough for you to keep going. And the keyword is like mentally taxing, or because you want your brain to be stimulated. You want it to be working so that it can actually stay awake and to combat that adenosine that's building up in your body. For most people, and it's even me as well, reading books is actually quite a mentally demanding task, and it's it's really hard for me to really read, even though I meditate and do all the self-improvement stuff that I'm going to teach you in this channel. But then I chose a mentally taxing task, which is reading a book, and I chose it with something that was enjoyable enough for me to really keep going. And that's what actually allowed me to stay awake. So as much as possible, don't do anything that isn't mentally not demanding, like video games or something else. It just has to be mentally demanding enough and enjoyable enough. And the reason you want to do that is so you can build up the adenosine so that you have the desire to stay asleep. Your body wants to stay asleep. And last night, I actually got 7 hours of sleep according to my sleep tracker. I'll show you. So, 7 hours sleep. Yep. So that's how I fixed the sleep maintenance insomnia. You just have to sleep later and sleep aligned to your chronotype, and then you just do morning sunlight in order to build up melatonin, and then you just let the adenosine build up through some enjoyable activity that stimulates your brain. See you.